Now seeing everything from the ground floor.
The Dan Bongino Show. Weekdays from noon to 3. Powered by Shooter's World on Florida Man Radio.
Sunnyside Plumbing.
Hi, I'm always running out of hot water. Do you think you can...
We offer convenient service during normal banking hours.
Great. So my water heater. I was thinking maybe a tankless...
Are you sure you actually need one?
What, need a water heater?
Ghastly things, they take up so much room.
But the tankless ones are smaller and you never run out of...
Oh, don't be such a baby. Have a cold shower. It's refreshing.
But my family...
People like you are too soft. Hot water is for the weak.
That's it. This would never happen with Frank Gay.
But you didn't call Frank Gay.
Wish I had.
We all wish you had.
That's it. I'm calling Frank Gay.
When you want an efficient tankless water heater, you want it done right. An easy solution to lower utility bills while providing unlimited hot water to your family. That's the Frank Gay way.
Shall I come over and burp you, you big baby?
That's the Frank Gay way.
FrankGayServices.com.
Universal Roof and Contracting.
How's the integrity of your roof? If you're not sure, then you need to contact Universal Roof and Contracting. They'll come inspect and let you know if there are any repairs needed. Plus, right now you can save $250 off roof repairs and $500 off roof replacements. No money down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. First responders and veterans get a free warranty upgrade. Visit universalroof.com for details.
UniversalRoof.com.
Summer may be over, but the heat is still on. Your AC is working really hard to keep your house cool. Don't wait a minute longer to have your AC inspected. Stop any issues before they start. ACR is just a click away for all your heating and AC needs. Right now, get a 20-point inspection for only $100. Visit callacr.com. ACR has 24-hour service, certified technicians, and A+ ratings. Don't miss the 20-point inspection for only $100. Visit callacr.com to schedule your service today. ACR, the most comfortable call you can make.
Get huge fall savings all month at Jenkins Hyundai of Leesburg. You'll find the best deals right now on your new Hyundai at Jenkins. Jenkins Hyundai of Leesburg is a short drive from the Villages and anywhere in Central Florida. And it will be worth the drive when you add up your savings. Plus great financing offers all this month. You'll also find hundreds of quality pre-owned vehicles in stock. Come check our inventory and offers in the showroom or at JenkinsHyundaiofLeesburg.com. Jenkins Hyundai of Leesburg on 441 across from the airport. Welcome to the family.
Bubba the Love Sponge.
Hey, it's Bubba the Love Sponge. Listen every weekday mornings right here on Florida Man Radio. Powered by Anajar and Levine, Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
September is here, so it's time for another trip to Premier Couples Superstore. They've got a huge selection of lingerie, shoes, toys, games, love oils, and a ton of great gifts. With Premier Couples Superstore, you don't pay those high prices because you go directly to the source. And don't forget to ask about their loyalty program. 5009 South OBT or shop online at premiercouples.net because a couple that plays together stays together.
Premier Couples Superstore takes you where you want to go.
Heavy rain, leaky roofs, bad air quality. You've got damage. Now what do? Get answers and so much more on the Air Quality Assessors Radio Show. The Building Damage Experts. This and every Saturday from noon till 2, only on Florida Man Radio.
The Justin Clark Show on Florida Man Radio.
Do you swear to tell the truth? The whole truth? And nothing but the truth?
You want answers? You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Florida Man Radio, what's crackin'? This is Jonathan Morris, your host. I got Steadman in the studio down there doing Steadman stuff. Things that I have no idea what he does with his fingers and his hands and his buttons.
You know, a lot of times I don't either.
That makes the two of us.
Kind of makes it fun.
We're going to roll this train. Just try to keep it on the tracks. Hey, I want to come out with American Made because I am born and raised in South Florida, a little town called Pahokee. I've never done much traveling. I have no desire to do any traveling. Everything I want is right here that God gave me, and that's just how I am. So a while back, I'd say it was after 9/11. I can't remember exactly what year. after the 9/11 terror attack, my mom, Mama Morris, is really big on all of her grandkids matching. So my wife, for whatever reason, one of the kids' children had outgrown their 4th of July American flag shirt. So we were headed over to Nana's house, and we ran through the Walmart real quick to get some T-shirts. So my wife tells me, you go over there and get the shirt. I'm going to pick out a couple other things. We'll meet at the register. Well, as I'm looking through shirts that say, USA and Go USA and Freedom, and they got the American flag on them, and they're beautiful shirts, Walmart beautiful. For whatever reason, I just looked at the tag, and the tag said, Steadman, you ready? The tag said, made in Afghanistan.
Oof.
So I didn't get any shirts, and I told my wife, let's just buy some white T-shirts and let the kids paint them. I was like, I'm not buying a shirt from Afghanistan while we are at war with Afghanistan. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Why would Walmart have a T-shirt from Afghanistan when there's plenty of people in America that could make an American T-shirt? You may pay extra money for it, but, for crying out loud, that to me, it blew my mind. It kind of really almost messed up my whole 4th of July. But then we started firing works and hot dogs, and I forgot about it. But that brings me to this. And forgive me if it's rusty because this is my first day of audio, but I want to play a little song for you that a good buddy of mine, Toby Keith, wrote. A little clip.
He's got the red, white, blue, brown hound on the farm. Simplified tattooed on his left arm. Spent a little more in the store for a tag. In the back it says USA. He won't buy nothing and he can't fix. With WD-40 and a Craftsman wrench, he ain't prejudiced. He's just made in America.
Made in America. He ain't prejudiced. He's just made in America. That sums up my grandpa, my father, me, all of my uncles. Every one of them went off and served in the wars. And I'm only 45, but I tell people I'm young, but I was raised by an old man. My daddy's high 70s, 77. He was the youngest of all of his brothers. His oldest brother was 18 years older than him. Mm-hmm. So when I say all of my uncles served in all the wars, they've been in pretty much all of them. They have fought and bled and lost and crippled and sacrificed for freedom for our country. And it almost seems like when you have that pride of America first or American made, and you want to verify what you're buying and what you're spending your money on, you get kind of classified as either a terrorist or a racist or a white supremacist or whatever word they want to label you with. Because apparently being an American is no longer being an American. It has a whole new meaning now. So I farm for a living, and it's kind of big for me. We covered a story last week where a supermarket in North Georgia somewhere had imported uninspected, USDA uninspected meat, T-bones. And T-bone is a high cut, It's not like they were doing ground chuck. They had a nice T-bone in the picture, and they were doing it for $8.49 a pound. Well, a guy like me raising cows, you can't compete with that. There's no way you can raise a cow, cut it, pull off the primals, and have them at that price. It's just impossible. And it's impossible for anybody else to do it unless you're cheating the system and you're, over steroiding the cows, or you're raising them without regulation. And you may ask, well, how can you raise them without regulation? America has standards. The USDA has standards. Well, if you're not growing them in America, you don't have to follow American standards. In Billings, there's a cattle company based out of Billings that is leading a campaign to get Congress to reenact the mandatory country of origin labeling laws. So we're going to play a little clip. In this clip, it's almost disgusting. You're going to hear two different versions. You're going to hear one guy say, oh, we don't need this. Man, this is only going to make it worse. It's only going to make prices higher because he's getting paid on the back end for all the beef coming across the border in Mexico and the border in Canada. And then you're going to hear a rancher saying, it's not fair, it's not right that our cows are mixed in with all these other cows, and people are standing in a grocery store and they don't know what's USA and what's not. And we'll get to the trickery part of it. Play that clip, please.
Several years ago, Congress removed the requirement to label where beef and pork is raised and processed. And now, a Billings-based cattle group is leading a campaign to get Congress to once again look at country of origin labeling. When inside the grocery store, many want to know where the food was produced. That's also true at Ranch House Meat and Sausage Company in Billings, a prime shopping destination for those in search of quality meat.
I prefer to look local. I prefer always to buy local. Prefer to buy, American made or America produced.
That's one reason there's now a push underway to reinstate mandatory country of origin labeling for beef and pork. According to RCAF USA, an advocacy group for cattle producers, several large meat packers in the U.S. currently import beef from out of the country, process it, and ship it to stores with the USA product label.
That label does not inform consumers as to the true origins of beef, so they're being deceived, if not tricked.
Kent Backus is with the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. He agrees with Bullard on the label confusion.
Instead of having product in the USA, let's call it processed in the USA, or let's create a label that's a little more truthful to what's actually happening to that product.
But Backus doesn't think mandatory country of origin labeling is necessary.
Mandatory government labels have actually caused higher costs due to compliance and due to further regulatory burdens, and it's actually caused greater consolidation within our industry.
Congress repealed the law in 2015 after the World Trade Organization ruled mandatory labeling created a trade barrier with Canada and Mexico that would cost the U.S. billions. But Bullard says the USA label has bipartisan support in Congress.
We want country of origin labeling for beef to be at the forefront of the issues that they're working on.
Back at Ranch House in Billings, the owner is in full support.
Ranchers and farmers ought to have that opportunity to have that country of origin labeling so that the customers that are aware of what they're looking for, it's easily accessible to them.
In Billings, David J., MTN News.
All right, that was a little long. I apologize. I'll learn eventually how to clip things together. So we just hit the highlighted parts, but I didn't want to mess it up. Thank you for that. So the American Beef Labeling Act would reinstate mandatory country origin labeling laws. This bill has been introduced both to the House and the Congress. So when we talk about the importance of having our elected officials representing us, and when we vote, and coming up in November, with the primary, well, I guess primary's over, it could be the people we actually vote in our areas, depending on where you live. It's very important that you know who you're voting for, and when they get up there and they take their seats, that they're voting for your business's best interest. Now, this is a story about cattle, but I would imagine in every industry, could you think of an industry, Steadman, that's not affected by foreign trade?
No, not at all. I can't think of one.
And the regulations, not that regulations are all bad, but the over-regulating that Donald Trump was actually trying to fix and loosen the belt a little bit to help businesses grow and flourish, the over-regulating that actually strangles and chokeholds you to where you cannot compete on a world level. And I guess that would be fine if your audience, your target audience, was a global audience. But when you're trying to sell to people, we buy styrofoam coolers out of a place in Fort Walton Beach. They're not trying to sell to the world. So they don't try to compete with world prices. They have a very good product, and they ship it around Florida and the South and all that. We have a product that we ship around, and, within our area, we're good at what we do. So if the world market was kept out of local business, let them eat themselves. Let them do whatever they want to with whatever the prices and however they want to grow or produce or pack anything they're doing, no matter if it's meat or vegetables or fruits or, styrofoam coolers or T-shirts or tennis shoes, whatever it is. The problem is when you don't regulate the outside countries and the outside business people, and then you allow them to sell inside of the American regulated market, it becomes a system that cannot sustain itself for the American business, because the added expense that we have, no matter what line of business you're in, you can't eat that expense and sell at a world market. When Bill Clinton did NAFTA back in the old days, my dad was very involved in sugar. We grew up on a sugarcane farm down in South Florida, and they had to start subsidizing sugar because the price that Mexican cane farmers could produce sugar for was stupid. It was it was less than half of what it cost. Their profit margins included was still less than half of what it cost American farmers in the Glades to produce sugar, because of the different types of fertilizers and poisons and, labor laws and how much you paid your employees and how long you worked employees. Just all that packaged up into this nice little bow of American regulation that's not enforced in other countries. It makes products where they can't meet the market. I don't know if that makes sense or not. the big one thing I took out of this is the fact that they're actively right now trying to get Congress to reinstate this. So that means, correct me if I'm wrong, but if something has to be reinstated, that means it was already stated.
Correct.
Okay, so our forefathers amaze me. Like, I don't know. I know people say, oh, when I die and get to heaven, I want to talk to Moses and I want to talk to Abraham and this guy and that guy. You imagine being able to get to heaven and talk to our forefathers. And like the intelligence, the wisdom and intelligence that they were given to draft the Constitution.
The foresight.
So can you believe that country of origin labeling is passed under our Constitution?
No, I can't. I can't believe they had the foresight to put that in there.
Yes, it was in the. I'm reading it right here. All right, the country of origin label was passed under our Constitution, and then, in 2015, was that under Obama?
Yeah, would have been.
All right, and the WTO, the World Trade Organization. I think whenever you hear of anything that has 3 letters, you better run and hide. I think they're not in your best interest if you're an American citizen trying to go after the real American dream. You know, the WHO, isn't it the WHO, the World Health Organization, and we all these 3-letter labels that are tribunal, if you will. So anyways, this international tribunal has a different agenda. They are determined that we are not allowed to have such domestically passed laws. And they say that consumers in America simply are not entitled to know the origins of beef. So this is on a very, very global political level, if you will. When you think about cows and you think about a cowboy in some worn out jeans and maybe a pair of boots with a hole in them and a rusted out truck, hauling a few cows, you don't think of billions and billions and billions of dollars. But the financial stake or the financial gain, if you will, for certain politicians for allowing Mexican beef and Canadian beef into our country, you can't even put a number on it. It's insane. And again, the problem is, up until 2015, you walked into a grocery store and it would say product of USA, product of Canada, product of Mexico. And if you went to a classy store, I don't know if you ever saw this, Steadman, but if you went to like one of those high-end markets,
highfalutin, yeah,
they would say the Mexico would be in really small print. You know what I mean?
I never noticed, but yeah, I can see that.
I pick up on those kind of things. But so the USA would be huge, like the font would be insane, and then or Canada, and then when needed or whatever, did it say Mexico, and you could barely make out. Like you had to go get your bifocals to make out the Mexican print. The agenda, and I know we talk about it a lot, talk about it on Saturdays, is one. It's a 3-package agenda. It's money, greed, and power. So anyways, the beef in Mexico and Canada, if that's all it was, I guess, you peel things back one layer at a time on the onions, like an onion, you peel it back one layer at a time. If Mexican beef was just that, if it was just Mexican beef, one may say, well, not too terrible to compete against one country. But what they're not telling you, and the lie, the big lie, is everything that comes across the Mexican border is not just raised right there within miles of the United States border in Mexico. This stuff's coming from Honduras, from Argentina, from anywhere they can get it and get it up to the border to get it into the United States to have it processed and claimed as American beef. So you as the consumer, you go down to your local grocery store, and yeah, every grocery store has a butcher and they have a pharmacy guy and they have the tellers, and everybody has their spot inside the grocery store, and you become to know, get to know them, you get a relationship with them, and you feel like you can trust them. And they're probably not intentionally lying to you at that level. They only tell you what they know. Hey, a cardboard box came in on a semi, and when I opened it up, it said USA on it. So they're not on that level lying to you because they're being honest. When they opened the box, it said USA. The lie goes all the way to the top. If you follow the money, it goes all the way back up to Washington.
Isn't that always the case? You follow the money.
Always count the money. The money never lies. I tell anybody that ever wants to work on the farm, I was like, you can come to work on the farm, but I want you to know, if you're a liar, you won't last long because farming will tell on you. Because you can jump in the truck at 3 o'clock and be like, man, boss, I did this and this and this and this today. And then I can turn and look out the window and say, no, you didn't. You know, you can lie and say you fed the pigs, but when the pigs are all out the next day because they busted through the gates, you didn't feed them. You know, if you were supposed to pick the peaches and you did, and they're all falling on the ground next day. So farmer will lie on you. I mean, will tell on you, but so will the money. The money will always tell on you. If you follow the money back, it takes you always, every single time, back to the source. The WTO, the World Trade Organization, is exactly what it is and what it claims to be. It's a world trade organization. It also lines up with one world order and one new world power and one agenda, getting everybody going one way. You know, why have a society of America first and build America stronger and better and, you know, what we intended it to be? Because the world, we have to take care of the world. Well, you can't take care of the world if you can't take care of yourself. And I'm going to say a name. I guess if I had a hat with 1,000 names in it, could you pick out what name I'm fixing to pull out?
No.
Bill Gates.
Ooh.
Bill Gates has done it again. He is embedded in this. His actions, his money, the stuff he's made off Microsoft, and good for him, right? Made a bunch of money, no big deal. But for goodness sakes, people, that's his quote. For goodness sakes, people, there's only one way to stop climate change. It's not emissions anymore. It's not deforestation. It's not, I don't know. It's we got to get rid of animals. So the same people that are trying to bring animals across borders into the American market, to flood the American market, to make it where the American rancher cannot keep up and can't stay in business. Because once this thing goes completely sideways, they'll shut the borders down. And they you know, all the Mexican and Canadian and all the other beef coming in across the borders are just pawns in a game to hurt the American farmer. And as soon as the American farmer is destroyed, all of a sudden there'll be a regulation now that you can't bring meat in across the border. So don't be misled that they want Americans eating red beef. They don't. They want us eating cricket powders. All right. Have you ever heard of cricket powder?
I have not.
Oh my goodness. Do you know for $22 you can buy a bag of cricket powder right now on Amazon?
What exactly? Okay, describe what cricket powder. What do you mean by cricket powder? Like literal cricket powder?
Oh, so you take a cricket, you know, cricket,
Yeah,
cricket, and you ground it up.
So it is literal cricket powder. It's not an expression.
No,
wow,
yeah.
$22, huh?
You can get a bag of cricket powder for $22. Oh no, it's not an expression. It's real deal. His deal is Bill Gates wants to force us to eat bugs and synthetic meat. He is quietly transforming the American food industry. He's doing it from within. He's in the process of buying more farmland and more factories or food establishment places than anybody else in America. And again, it's his money, right? Everybody invests their money in different things.
Right.
He wants to invest his. It'd be great if he wanted to invest it in things that would help the planet, things that would help business growers or business farmers in America to grow their business. But it seems that his agenda is, and I guess he's never been shy about it, so you can't really, I don't know, I guess it's good to know where your enemies stand, right? His agenda has always been, I remember hearing interviews 10 years ago from him saying we need to reduce the population by a third. So he's never hidden his agenda. I just can't believe that so many people are going along with it and they don't realize that, like, maybe I'm part of that third. Like when he wants to get rid of a third, am I in that third? Am I part?
Yeah.
You know, am I on his good list or his bad list?
Yeah.
And why does Bill Gates get to decide how many people leave this planet? That's a God decision, right?
Should be.
So I have a recommendation from a normal guy, got a wife, 8 kids. We have to eat. We eat every day. I would recommend from here on out staying away from anything processed or anything in a box or anything in the middle of the grocery stores. If you don't have a local farmer in your area or a local farm market that you can get to to purchase from, and it has to, someone that you can trust, that you have a relationship with them. And there's a lot of markets that don't farm. I know a lot of guys that validate, right? Is that the right word? They validate where the stuff comes from. Mm-hmm. They know the farms they're buying from. They're big on supporting local industry. Regionally local is a big thing. A lot of people don't talk about that, but the guy in North Carolina needs to pick his tomatoes just as bad as the guy in Homestead. And just as bad as the guy out in Indiana. And as much as we don't like California, the California farmer, he has to survive too. God made seasons, not me. So people need to eat seasonally. They need to eat regionally. But you need to do it from somebody you can trust, because they're making this cricket powder and they're putting it on the back. And I believe the word was, oh man, I had it. I'm so sorry. Cachava? Cachava?
Okay.
Can you look that up?
I'm Googling that.
I don't want to be misquoted. I think cachava is like one of the advertising things they're going for a new sustainable, healthy protein to get away from animals. I mean, silly humans.
Oh, see, they make it, okay, cachava. Yeah, they make it into shakes. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's considered a superfood.
Superfood.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was growing up, Papa, he had a can of spinach. Just a good old can of raw. Well, I guess it wasn't raw because it was canned, but a good old can of spinach. He wasn't eating cricket powder. I'm sure Papa was a meat eater. He had forearms for days. But God already gave us superfoods. We don't need someone making new superfoods in the labs. But, all right, so here we go. And I'm trying to find out the right way to say this so it makes sense to you, because I had to read it twice for it to make sense to me. But TMZ, when you think of TMZ, or when I think of TMZ, I think of like trashy news articles, some entertainer slept with another entertainer, or somebody got drunk and got in a wreck, and
right.
I don't think anything other than that.
You think salacious, scandalous.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm not discounting TMZ. Maybe they're great at what they do. That's just not my cup of tea. I mean, am I far off on their reporting?
It depends on what it is. They actually, I don't want to sit here and contradict or defend TMZ too much, but they do break some really good stories as well. They are usually first with big stories. But
are they
yes.
credible? Like, would you go to TMZ for health advice?
Health advice? No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
But for entertainment news,
current
affairs.
Like, for example, they were the first ones to report on Kobe Bryant's crash.
Okay.
They were there. You know what I mean? So at times you can't discount them completely, but as far as health, heck no.
So here we go. TMZ promotes cricket protein powder to please anti-humanity globalists Klaus Schwab, Bill Gates, and the New World Order.
Mm-hmm. They're getting paid. Yep.
This is I'm just going to keep it quick, but this is a quick tidbit out of their post. If you're sick of that post-protein shake bloat, or you're tired of heavy powders and supplements that leave you feeling overfull and sluggish, try this out instead. This is the very first line that you come across in TMZ's website. TMZ is now advertising protein supplements produced by Human Improvement that are made with cricket powders. They have an entire article. They have an entire, what would you call it? A lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a go-to thing. In the middle of, could you imagine, like, Kobe Bryant's helicopter went down, blah, blah, blah. We'll be right back. Brought to you by cricket powder. It's insanity. All right. Moms, if you're out there and you're pregnant, or let's say, crickets.
Mm-hmm. There they are.
Crickets. Who knew we had all that protein out in the grasses and the trees? You just be out there with big nets. We got to get ahead of this, Steadman.
There you go.
We need to get out. I'm going to sell all my cows and pigs, take that money, invest it in the cricket nets.
Who needs cows and pigs when you got crickets, man?
Yes. I'm going to start farming crickets.
There you go.
So, moms, if you're listening, if you are a drinker, I don't condone you, but if you're pregnant and you're a drinker, I need you to hold back. That could come back bad on you. All right? And then, I'm sorry, Mama Morris, but the strippers are in the news again. We'll be right back. Jonathan Morris, Florida Man Radio.
Florida Man Radio.
The Shannon Burke Show.
A Southwest Airlines pilot took to the plane's intercom and threatened to return the aircraft if passengers did not stop sending nude photos to him via the airdrop feature.
Scott is speaking. Whoever's sending me the picture of the vein-laden meat pipe, I appreciate it. Enjoy the flight, Papa.
The Shannon Burke Show. Weekdays at 3 o'clock Eastern, 2 Central on Florida Man Radio.
Creative Floors. It's worth talking to the experts.
It's time to tackle the flooring projects you've been putting off with our Save Big Sale, only at Creative Floors. Hi, Nancy here, and we have hand-selected fantastic savings on select tile and luxury vinyl planks you won't want to miss. Score big on savings throughout our showroom on carpet, wood, and laminate. With 1 year no-interest financing, you will be the MVP in your home. Visit us at CreativeFloorsOnline.com for locations.
Make Shooters World your home for all things firearms. Shooters World is Central Florida's largest indoor shooting range and retail superstore. Right now, Shooters World has an incredible offer for Florida Man Radio listeners. Get 1 hour of range time for free. Try their 15, 25, 50, or 100-yard ranges. Just come into any Shooters World location and use promo code FMR at checkout. That's promo code FMR for a free hour on the range. ShootersWorld.com for all the range details. Shooters World, Central Florida's largest indoor shooting range and retail superstore.
Four Seasons Air and Heating. When was the last time you got your AC serviced? Who would you call if your AC stopped working today? If you don't know, then you may be stuck in the heat for a long time. You need to call Four Seasons AC because they have the best customer service in Central Florida and 24-hour same-day service. And ask about their $1,000 rebate on a new unit. 4acnow.com. Four Seasons, the AC company you wish you called first.
The AC company you wish you called first. Boss Man Painting, that's B-A-U-S-M-A-N, nothing compares to the boss.
Call the boss today. They'll come out today. Yes, today. Survey the job and get you an estimate today. Boss Men are experienced professional painters that hustle so they can get to you right away and get the job done right. Call Boss Man Painting today at 407-256-5217 for the same day estimate.
Nothing compares to the boss.
I spend a lot of time in the garage, but even more time in the rain, sleet, and mud. In 95, I helped tow your moving trailer. In 05, I helped you get out of a ditch. Yeah, I know I'm a bit rusty, and sadly in 09, it was sparks from me, your handy chains, dragging behind your truck that accidentally started a wildfire.
Sparks from dragging chains can start a wildfire. Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Getting you back between the ribs with Jonathan Morris on Florida Man Radio.
Grass kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny.
I'm not going to say that I've never had a beer before. That'd be an utterly lie. But I do think over compulsion could be a bad thing. So we live in a world now where everybody has to have a defense. Oh, it's not my fault. This happened, that happened. Everything has to be excusable or deflected. And I'm not saying that there's no such thing as cause and effect, right? Steadman, like cause and effect's real, correct?
Of course.
So they're doing the trial right now for Sandy Hook for the shootings, or for the shooter, for Cruz. And just to be clear, his trial isn't about guilty or innocent. Obviously, he's guilty. But the trial is now, does he get death sentence or does he get to live out his days in prison?
I guess we'll see.
Well, what if your defense was, let's see, if you brought in the leading, not just a, but the leading fetal alcohol researcher in the country to testify. And let's just say when he got on the stands, he said that Nicholas Cruz's birth mother drank more during her pregnancy than any other woman I've ever documented. He went on to say that Brenda Woodard, the mother, well exceeded the standards that grossly endanger a fetus. So I don't know what her life deal was back when she was pregnant. Now, she's no longer with us. She has passed away for whatever, I don't know. I don't know why she died, but she's no longer with us. That's neither here nor there. But I've heard of women having a glass of wine or this or that. I don't think, my wife never drank with any of our babies. We have 8. She's never drank with any of them. And a lot of women I know, even if they do drink or do other stuff, they definitely don't do it during pregnancy because everything that you put in your body goes right into the baby, correct?
Correct.
Well, apparently Miss Woodard just didn't care because she drank 6 times the amount of what the endangerment level would be. We're not going to bore you with that. They got it all listed out here of how many drinks per day for how many weeks in a row, or if you were doing doubles or, if you were doing them in a sitting or out of a sitting. But anyway, so if you are a drinker out there, I'd highly encourage you to hold off when you're having babies. You don't want to have something come back and bite you in the butt later on in life. And she's not here to defend herself. Maybe she had a good reason for doing all that alcohol while she was pregnant. Not sure. Stebbin, y'all drink big drinkers at your house? Not really?
No, not at all. Actually, I haven't touched alcohol in about 5 years.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Good live the sober life, right?
Exactly, because hopefully I'll live longer. I got enough going on. I don't need to be drunk. I already walk like I'm drunk anyway.
Yeah, is that the case?
That is the case. So
when I first met you, I was like, man, what's this guy doing? He's going left to right. And I like to be courteous. So I stopped, opened the door for you. This was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that was very nice.
I didn't even know we were ever going to see each other again. I had no idea I did, but I wasn't sure if you were going left or right. And I was like, well, I'm going to give him all the time he needs. He'll figure out left or right, or maybe he'll take both, and we'll get through this, and then I'll get out.
Boy,
to my
this
truck.
guy's wobbling. What's going on? Which way is he leaning?
And then I found out you're sober. That's even, oh, my goodness.
Yeah, see?
No, it's fine.
See that?
Good stuff. All right, so stories like this, I have to keep classy because my mama listens, and my wife listens, and my daughters may listen. But these daggum strippers, man, this is 2 shows in a row. I don't know if they're trying to set me up to get a little dirty on the show, but I'm going to try to keep it as clean as possible. But a nursing home out of Taiwan had to do some apologizing, and they thought it was a great idea. Well, how do we word this? They needed to bring in some entertainment for some elderly patients that were battling depression. So they went out and they searched for, let's see, they used the word an adult entertainer. Well, they were trying to find someone to entertain the adults. And instead, they got a dancer, an adult dancer. They showed up half naked. I'm going to let Steadman play for you the clip. And if you have an opinion on this, 321-339-1055, we can't figure out, are these moans and hollers in Taiwanese, if that's proper language, that they're scared and freaked out, or if they're just having them a real good time. Roll that for me.
Oh, boy.
They're into it now, right?
Yeah, this poor guy in a wheelchair didn't know what hit him.
Yeah, if we had a link for people to see this guy, I don't know to feel sorry for him or be like, all right, buddy. He had his day. It started on the ground with some motions that I cannot discuss. And then she went airborne. She never got fully unclothed. She was always covered. All of her parts were always covered. But provocative, to say the least. And don't know if anybody slept that night.
Picture, if you will, a typical stripper-type scenario if you've ever been to an adult establishment. Picture that. Picture this girl on club, or even if you've ever been to a bachelor party and you've seen a girl. But picture that in the setting of a nursing home with people sitting basically in a circle, like in wheelchairs and everything else, and let your imagination run wild. That's exactly what we just witnessed. And that's at ladbible.com, ladbible.com if you want to check it out for yourself.
Yeah, that'll make you look twice when you come across something like that. So, an appropriate apology. They lined up to have a good time. And if you read farther into the story, there are some staff members that say, no, they knew what they were doing. They're trying to play like they made a mistake, but they knew exactly what they were hiring.
Of course they did.
You know, so everybody tries to play what's the old saying? Better to ask for forgiveness
than permission, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I was hiring a clown to do balloon animals. No, not exactly. I don't think the wires got crossed there. I think you knew exactly who you were hiring.
Yeah, so they had to make an apology, which is an appropriate apology. I'm sure most people that have their parents in an extended living facility don't want mom and dad, exposed to that kind of behavior, if you will.
Exposed,
all right. But from an appropriate apology to a bull junk. Are we allowed to say bull junk on the radio?
You can say bull junk.
Bull junk apology. It grosses me out. All right, I'm going to cover this, but it's sickening that we live in a world that this has to happen. But I know Iowa teen, she's obviously a victim. Her rapist, or her attempted rapist, he was involved in human trafficking. So this poor girl was already in a bad relationship with her scumbag mom and dad. She was an abused child. They put her in the DCF system, if you will, child system. That normally doesn't go well for children, especially for girls. So they put her in this system. So she ran away, had no place to go, found an apartment complex that she could find shelter at, and sleeping in between hallways whenever, like, the security or the janitor guy would let her get away with sleeping in between hallways, trying to live some type of a normal life with the terrible card she was dealt. So if that wasn't bad enough, a guy who was a human trafficker made contact with her, picked her up, talked her into getting into the apartment, his apartment, and then he raped her. And then he tried to kidnap her and put her into the traffic trade, into the sex trade. Well, Piper Lewis, 17 years old, had the wherewithal to get a knife, and she stabbed him to death. 37-year-old Zachary Brooks from Des Moines was killed by this girl. Now, to me, 100% self-defense, right, Steadman?
That's what I would think.
If you're trying to rape me, and that would be weird for everybody because I'm almost 6'2", 300 pounds, and Steadman's on the lean side, if you will. He's probably no body fat.
And I'm disabled.
Well.
But anyways, yes.
That being said, if you're trying to rape me, I feel like I have the right to kill you.
You do.
Or vice versa. If I'm trying to harm you, let's say you're walking through the parking lot, and I want to come up behind you and beat you up and take your backpack, I think you have the right to defend yourself. And if that means I take 2 to the chest for being a scumbag, that I just take 2 to the chest. Well, not in Iowa. So she was on what they gave her a suspended sentence. She's on probation, right? She had to plead to a lesser crime of involuntary manslaughter. And she had to do that in order to not go to prison for 20 years. So they were going to sentence her for a 20-year prison sentence for defending herself from a guy who was trying to rape and kidnap her. Now, here's where it gets worse. She pled down. She got out of the prison. She's got probation, but she has to pay his estate. So let me back up and say, I thought estates were for like family members, older people that are established in the community. They got children, they've got houses and properties, and they have an estate, something that outlives them, right?
Right, a legacy.
So this guy has an estate, or they created an estate for him because this 17-year-old teenager has to pay him $150,000.
I can't believe that.
In retribution. They call it restitution to the man's family. She is ordered to pay $150,000 through the Polk County District Judge in that county up there.
I don't want to assume she had a terrible lawyer, but it sounds like she had a terrible lawyer.
You would think, correct? Or is the whole system going that way?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit of both. That's why it's hard to assume her lawyer was terrible. Maybe he was just, maybe he could only do so much with the way the system is in Iowa. But I mean, on the surface of the story you just told me, that I mean, it makes your stomach turn.
It does. It's just I don't know. And I'm a firm believer in like call to action type deals where we got to be the change. We can't just sit around and talk about it all the time. And I don't know how that applies because, like, I'm never going to enter a courtroom as a lawyer. I'm not going back to law school. So I can't do that. But if you're listening and you are a lawyer and you're involved in the criminal justice system, you have to make the change in your arena. We have to make the change either on radio or farming. If you're a truck driver, make the change in truck driving. Medical, make the change in medical. And it almost seems like, though, out in California, you want to make the change, but how far can you go with that?
Right.
So it's easy for me to ask you to do something to make a change in your profession. But out in California, if you're a doctor and you're not tucking tail and following suit with the way they want you to practice medicine, they revoke your license and tell you can't work in California no more.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand it's easy for me to say, well, just man up or woman up and do it. But you're the one that's going to lose money, lose income, lose your house. So how far do we go? And this is an honest question. I don't know the answer. I would like to say in my mind, I'll go as far as I got to go.
Of course.
But how far can you go when you have a wife and children, or if you're a lady and you're the breadwinner at your house and you've got a husband and kids at home? How far do you go to make that change?
It's unfortunate because you are limited by the extent of the laws of your state and of your county and everything else. So there is literally, it is so easy to go to the extreme and say, well, you just need to make a change. You just need to step forward, because if you do it, then others are going to follow suit. And it's just not the case, because you are limited, unfortunately, by the laws of your state and by, laws of the country or whatever it may be.
Right.
I mean, it's good that you want to make that change, but how far can you literally go with it? That's the question. That's always the question.
So I guess then, and I'm not going to say this every time I'm on air, but I guess because November is just around the corner, our first foot forward is, no matter what we're doing
right
on voting day, even if that means missing an hour or two of work or whatever, no matter what we're doing on voting day, we have to go down and create the red wave. Because the red wave that they talk about, I don't think is necessarily just going to spontaneously come up and flood the nation. I think that's what Democrats are hoping for. I think they're hoping for enough Republicans, enough conservatives are sitting around high-fiving each other saying, red wave, red wave, red wave, but we forget to go vote. And then the morning after, we're like, what happened? It was supposed to be a red wave, and it turned into a blue sinkhole.
A blue tsunami.
A blue tsunami. So I implore you, you have to make sure, go ahead and pick that day out on your calendar. That's the first step for making a change. Get out there, vote, know who you're voting for, and make good changes. I actually got a text last night from somebody. So if Seminole County, over here, we're out on this side of Florida, sent out a text looking for people to help volunteer to help out with some Republican candidates and just be like boots on the ground. I don't know how they got my number. It seemed pretty personal. It didn't seem like a robot call. The lady, her name's Amy, and I'll give you all's number for. She wants it. They're looking for as many volunteers that want to help all over Florida, not just Seminole County. She was out of Seminole County, but they're looking for the entire state of Florida. They want to cover it and make sure every race is nailed down with the right candidate that we all want for the right, appropriate agenda that gets done. Because, you have these trickeries here locally in Seminole County, in Lake Mary. David Mueller, shoe-in for another term of mayor. He's a fantastic mayor, does a great job. And at the last minute, somebody from New York that moved to Lake Mary on the Democratic side of the ticket, at the very last minute, filled out the paperwork and added his name to run against Mayor Mueller.
Right.
And those kind of things aren't done by accident. They're whoever's helping him with his campaign, they know, all right, let everybody think that David's got this thing nailed down again. There's no competition, nobody to watch for. We'll slip in there at the last minute with paperwork, and come election day, they may not even know that there was two choices, and we may luck up and win this thing. So you have to stay informed to make sure you're doing your part to be informed. Because we live in a crazy world, crazy times. And we got a story out of Justin's hometown, matter of fact. Somebody was texting asking about Justin. He's all well, everything going good. But out of Boston last night, so I guess it's not breaking news because it happened while we were sleeping, or last night. But there was a package that exploded that the Boston Herald reported on. One injury, and a package. Did we find out all that?
Yeah, I got some audio. It's about a 90-second clip of the actual news report of the situation. Let's go ahead and listen to that.
One of them apparently detonated. An explosion on the campus of Northeastern University injures a staff member. The bomb squad responded to take care of a second suspicious package. And overnight, Northeastern says they expect to open for classes as usual today.
Meanwhile, the FBI is on the case. Nick Giovanni is live on campus with the new details about the investigation. Nick?
And Kate, the I-team has learned there was a manifesto that came with the package that was opened here on campus, railing against Mark Zuckerberg and virtual reality. That package delivered to Holmes Hall detonated a little after 7 o'clock last night, we're told, when a staff member went to open it. School tells us that staff member, a 45-year-old man, was taken to the hospital with a minor arm injury. No students were hurt. The building, which is full of classrooms and offices, was evacuated, as were a pair of connected buildings, while Northeastern Police, Boston Police, and the FBI all descended upon the campus. And once it was deemed secure, Mayor Wu said it's of the utmost priority for the city to ensure the safety of students and staff.
As a mom, I just sent my own 2 little babies back to school in our Boston public schools. I take very seriously that this city is home to everyone's young people, from our littlest learners up to our college students and university staff.
We're told a second similar package.
Okay.
We got the gist of it. Thank you for that. So I guess straight out of the bat, my mind goes to, and my mind may be a little distorted, but my mind goes to, man, thank God he was a bad bomb maker. Because if you open a bomb and you walk away with minor arm injuries, either that wasn't a really good bomb, or maybe it wasn't meant to be a good bomb. I don't know. I guess there'll be a lot more coming out on this story here in the next day or two. And of course, they're going to try to make sure they pinpoint this guy as a, racist, American, Trumper, anti-tech, anti-everything else. That's how they spin all these stories coming out. So kind of watch out for that. With your children when they were younger, did you ever let them lift weights, work out, exercise? They play any games?
Of course. Yeah, my daughter played soccer. She's actually in exercise now. She's 18 and staying in good shape. So, yeah, absolutely.
Did you ever worry? So we're very athletic minded at our house. I have a couple of beasts of human beings, more than 2. Alyssa lifted weights. She missed state by like a half pound, and JJ did great things, and Julian's huge. Aurora, basketball number 2 guard. Did you ever have to hold them back? Were you ever concerned about, they're a little too young, their bones are still developing, I'm not sure, I don't want to you just let them go, let them rip and run?
Of course, yeah. I mean, that's how I guess maybe because that's how I was raised, so I kind of just pass that on to my child. If she gave me a reason to be concerned, I would be concerned, but she never gave me a reason.
All right. For us, I guess my mom and dad saw a lot of people wear out or burn out early. They start Pop Warner when they're like 4 or 5.
Sure.
And by the time they're seniors in high school, they've got bad knees and bad elbows. And, they're just not really fit for college because they've just given it all they've had. And so we've kind of held Julian and them back just a little bit. Not much, but get them where they're more age appropriate and their muscles are developing. So we let them do camps and training and get the skill set built up.
Sure.
But maybe not necessarily all the rough, rigged, beating activity. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a girl named Brody. She's 9. And she's power front squatting 150 pounds.
Mm.
Now, her mother is no schlum, if you will, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
What's that?
Schlub.
Schlub, yeah. She's no schlub.
She's not a slacker.
Not at all. She looks like she could probably take on me and you and anybody else in the building that wanted to try her. She's jacked up. So she says that 9 is not too young, that Brody has actually been lifting weights since she was 5 years old, getting down the technique and the barbells. It kind of interested me. Used to power lift when I was in college, so it's pretty cool to see people that do fits of strength, especially when you know what something feels like when you're grabbing a hold of it. But 105 pounds, and what that means is a front power squat, that's not where you just put the bar on your back and squat down.
Right.
So your elbows are up high, the bar's sitting across the top of your chest torso, your head's kind of kicked back. So you're balancing that weight in front of you as you're going into a squat position and then bringing it all the way back up. But they had a good little video this kid was doing all kind of Olympic lifts, from clean and jerk, squat, everything was 100 pounds or heavier. 9 years old, and she walked around like it was just second nature to her. So sure, we'll be on the lookout for Brody one day on the world level. Guys, the bees aren't happy. I don't know if the guy didn't whisper it in the right word, or if it's a coincidence, but I don't think the bees took the passing of the queen very well.
The queen is dead.
So let's say the guy messed that up. Can you blame him? That announcement has not had to be made for 70 years.
It's true.
The bees have had one monarch for 70 years.
And that's a lot of generation of bees. I'm not sure a bee life expectancy, but yeah.
I don't know either. I was going to try to throw in a better believe it, but it wasn't appropriate right then. But I'll force it on you anyway. We'll figure out a way to work in you better believe it. So the bees aren't happy, and I don't know if it's because of the queen or if it's because of, they say operator error, human stupidity. It may just be a coincidence, but we got that coming up. It's amazing the guy's alive. I'm going to go ahead and let a little bit out of the bag. It's amazing the guy's alive. And then, of course, another person on the Clinton list. Oh, boy.
We're not saying. We're just saying.
We're just saying that list is getting smaller and smaller. Eventually, I think Hillary and Bill is going to be sitting around looking at each other. And like the Highlander, you ever watch the Highlander show? Mm-hmm. I used to love that show. Hillary and Bill are going to pull out their swords and they're going to say there can only be one. I mean, how many mouths do you have to silence before you're the only mouth left? I don't know. We'll get to all that. Florida Man Radio. Hope you're having a good time. We'll be right back. Jonathan Morris.
Florida Man Radio.
Orlando. It's Jesse Kelly. It's only right for me to have a home here on Florida Man Radio. Unfiltered and unafraid. That's what you get from me, unapologetically. Take a ride with me and we'll talk everything from pizza to politics. Whether it's tackling serious issues the mainstream media outlets are too scared to touch, or having a good time cracking jokes with all my red-blooded Americans out there, it's all for you weeknights at 7 p.m. on Florida Man Radio. Florida Man Radio.
If you've been involved in a car accident, call me, Mark Anajar, at the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733, and take back control of your life.
Office in Orlando.
Everything costs more these days, from the grocery store to the gas pump. That includes the cost of glasses and contact lenses. Don't let inflation keep you from getting better vision. The Filatowski Eye Institute offers 24-month interest-free financing to qualified patients. They have the latest state-of-the-art LASIK technology, Smile LASIK. It's minimally invasive with quick recovery. Most people are back to work or school the next day. So stop spending money on glasses and contact lenses. Text JVC to 868686 to schedule today.
Adam and Eve is not giving you 10% off and not 20% off or even 40%. Your discount is even bigger. AdamandEve.com is giving you a whopping 50% off. But why stop there? In addition to 50% off, you also get 10 free gifts. That includes a racy item for him, a sensuous toy for her, and something we know you'll both enjoy. Ooh. And 6 extra special bonus items that are sure to rev your engine, pique your curiosity, and even blow you away. And best of all, free shipping. Always delivered in discreet packaging. So rethink your bedroom routine. Go to adamandeve.com and enter this station's exclusive code at checkout, FLMAN, and get, you know the discount, 50% off almost any item and 10 tantalizing free gifts. That's FLMAN, FLMAN.
Get huge fall savings all month at Jenkins Hyundai of Leesburg. You'll find the best deals right now on your new Hyundai at Jenkins. Jenkins Hyundai of Leesburg is a short drive from the Villages and anywhere in Central Florida. And it will be worth the drive when you add up your savings. Plus great financing offers all this month. You'll also find hundreds of quality pre-owned vehicles in stock. Come check our inventory and offers in the showroom or at JenkinsHyundaiofLeesburg.com. Jenkins Hyundai of Leesburg on 441 across from the airport. Welcome to the family.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
First, I hold my hands out like they're on a steering wheel. Then I look over my shoulder. Next, I put it in reverse.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
It only takes a minute to find out if you may have prediabetes, and you can do it at doihaveprediabetes.org. But you're probably not going to. Nope. I'm sure you've got a perfectly good excuse. Kids, work. I get it. You're busy. So what better time than now? Let's begin. Raise one finger if you're a man. Ladies, none yet. Oh, count in your head if you're driving. Now, 3 more fingers for everyone over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40, 1 more if you're not physically active, another finger if anyone in your family has type 2 diabetes. Another if you've got high blood pressure. If you're overweight, raise another finger. 2 if you're very overweight. And 3 if you're really overweight. You've just taken the world's first audio prediabetes test. And if you're holding up 5 or more fingers, visit doihaveprediabetes.org or talk to your doctor. There's no excuse because prediabetes can be reversed.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
WDYZ, Altamont Springs, WFYY, HD3, Windermere, WXUS, HD3, Dunellen, Ocala, WZLB, Valparaiso, Florida Man Radio. Back to Between the Ribs with Jonathan Morris on Florida Man Radio.
Florida Man Radio. Ron had a good comment. He said, asking one person to sacrifice is a lot, but if we all got together and did it, it wouldn't have to go that far. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
That's it.
Do you know who's great at teamwork?
Who's that?
Bees.
Bees.
It's the bees.
Those honey makers.
Those honey makers. Have you ever been attacked by bees?
Not a swarm of, but I have been stung by a bee, and it hurts like hell.
Do you want to get attacked by bees?
No, thanks.
You sure about that?
I'm good.
Okay. So upon further investigation, I found out that it has nothing to do with the royal bees, but I thought it was fun to bring it up anyway. Because I do think it's kind of cool. We talked about this the other day, because, of course, the Queen passed away, and I don't know what they do in England or what the weather is like over there, but, man, she's been riding around that box for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Is it air-conditioned?
Probably hers is. I think the average Joe is not, but I think hers is probably well ventilated, if you know what I mean.
But does the average person from that country have the same funeral process, or is this just something?
Seriously doubt it.
Okay, I was going to say, because, man, no disrespect. I'm not being rude at all, but she has been in there for a while.
She's ripe.
And she's going to be in there for like 8 more days. Is that right? Is it 8 days, 10 days we have still to go on this deal?
I mean, I'm sure she's been, and I have to be careful how I say these things because I don't want to be disrespectful, but I'm sure she's been well preserved, pickled, if you know what I mean. So I'm sure she's ready to go for however long this may take. I mean, you know, when we lie bodies in state here in the United States, I mean, they're, you know, sometimes they travel across the across the country. Now, back in the day when they would like take Lincoln's body and move it around, it was not probably pickled correctly. So, yeah. But, I think that she's probably pretty well pickled and ready for her journey here.
And her diet of marmalade sandwiches and blueberry jam, she's already has some preservatives working through her body.
Oh, boy. You had to go there.
Yeah. So in Ohio, a man got stung. Well, he's out of his coma. Let's go there first.
Okay.
There was a man who was in a coma.
Don't bury the headline here.
He is he is awake now. Do you know what put him in a coma?
I do not.
20,000 bee stings. So Austin Bellaby, a 20-year-old man, was climbing trees, helping his grandparents. You know that old saying, no good deed ever goes undone.
That's it.
And I don't know who said that, but they ought to be tied and beaten for that. But it's so true. So he was helping his grandparents out. Obviously, they couldn't climb up in the tree. And as he's sawing away with this chainsaw, hacking away this tree, he doesn't see the beehive. Now, I don't understand how you don't see a beehive that has 20,000 bees in it, because I've seen beehives before with a moderate amount of bees, and you can definitely see the beehive. So I can only imagine. I don't have a clip of it. There's no visual audio on this one to show you how big the hive is that had 20,000 bees in it. But apparently he ran his chainsaw right through the middle of it. And before he could get off the ladder, he was attacked. They say he started to holler. Of course he hollered, help, help, somebody help me. And Grandma said nobody would help him. So I tried to climb the ladder. Is that it?
Yeah, that was it.
Play it again?
Yeah. Okay, that's not actually. That's just a sound effect of a bee swarm. But you know, I like this. I like to set the stage.
Yeah, I was thinking, is that the sound of 20,000 bees?
Sure.
Taking me to my death?
Yes, that's it. That's what it would sound like.
Right before you're gone?
Yeah.
He said, help me. Grandma said nobody would help him. So I tried. She said, but I couldn't get to him because the higher I climbed, the bees surrounded me. And then I began to get stung. And this poor guy, I wish I had a thing to show you what's on the clip. He looks like he's been 9 rounds with Mike Tyson. I mean, that's what he looks like. They said that his head was like a porcupine.
Oh, Lord.
Right? The bees were coming out, and apparently these were some big bees. His mom got there. The stingers were roughly around 1 inch long. And, so like when a bee stings you, I don't have to give a biology lesson. When a bee stings you, they leave the stinger every time, correct?
Correct, and then they die, I believe.
So this guy's personally responsible for killing 20,000 bees. What a monster.
I know. So if he were in Iowa, he would have to pay the bee estate.
Right, yeah, he would be paying the bees.
That's it.
For killing them. Wouldn't be the bees' fault for stinging them.
Exactly.
But the mom said and I'm trying to wrap my head around this because I've been in this situation, never with 20,000. But I'm going to tell you a fun story in just a second. 1 inch long stingers were left in her son. She said, when I rubbed his head on Friday before they airlifted him, it felt like he was becoming a human porcupine. That's how pokey the stings were on his head. Could you imagine holding a chainsaw?
No.
And you're up in a ladder on top in a tree, and 20,000 bees begin to attack you. He's lucky he didn't cut his arms or legs or head or anything else off, because I would imagine he's welling around like a guy getting stung by 20,000 bees.
So wait, just so I'm clear, he was on a ladder?
He climbed a ladder.
Did he fall off the ladder?
No.
What?
He ended up coming down. And he went unconscious from all the poison, from all the stings.
Oh, my Lord.
And they had to airlift him. He got an airplane ride, a helicopter, Trauma Hawk ride to the hospital. He was stung at least 20,000 times during the frightening attack. And his mother, here's where it gets nasty. Because I want to know how they got him out. His mother added that he also ingested approximately 30 bees.
Oof.
Could you imagine your esophagus, the soft parts of your mouth and your stomach?
That's why I stay indoors. I'm not an outdoorsy guy. That's what a Jonathan's for.
I love the outdoors.
I know you do.
I'm an outdoor guy. Like, I am the essence of outdoor. I have been accused of being multiple different ethnicities before. None of them white. I've never been accused of being a white guy. I mean, I actually had the police department in my hometown stop me one time, and somebody had called, somebody driving through our neighborhood, called into the police department and said, there's a large migrant worker breaking into someone's Jeep.
Oh, Lord.
And I'm standing next to my truck, and they're giving me the what for, doing their due diligence. So finally, I said to the police officer, just run the tag on this truck and run the tag on the Jeep and run the tag on that trailer. Everything in the yard belongs to me. And by the way, you haven't asked me for a driver's license yet. He looked at me and goes, we didn't think you'd have one.
Oh.
Now, I'm in my khakis, because I like to wear my khakis because they keep me cool. I wear blue jeans a lot, but I like to wear my khakis.
Sure.
I had on my boots and I had on a white V-neck T-shirt. So I guess with the tan I carry, I'm in the sun a lot, I look like a large migrant worker.
Yeah, I mean, that shouldn't matter, but yeah, I guess so.
I said to him, do you know any Guatemalans over 6'2"? He did not like that. He did not think that was funny. So finally, I give him my driver's license. And even after giving my driver's license, and he ran the tags on our vehicles, and we're standing in my front yard, Steadman, he looks at me and goes, yeah, but were you messing with that Jeep over there? I said, it's my Jeep. I bought it for my daughter. Who cares if I was messing with it? He's like, yeah, but we're just trying to get all the facts straight. I said, first of all, no, I wasn't messing with the Jeep. I walked by it on my way to my pickup truck to go to the field. The guy who called in, great, he called in. So I've had that happen to me before. I've had people come to me and they see me in person and they walk by me very confused, and I realize, because I'm very aware of my surroundings.
Yes.
So they walk by me and I realize there's something going on, this guy or gal, there's something not right. So then they walk by me again, and I realize they're trying to figure out who I am. And then I'll ask them, hey, are you looking for, can I help you with something? They're like, yeah, are you Jonathan? I'm like, yes, I am. They're like, oh. And then they stand there. And I'm like, is everything all right? They're like, well, we thought you were a big black guy. I was like, all right. Because they would hear me on Saturday on Between the Ribs. And that's just what they thought. Right. So anyways, how we got to that, I don't know.
I don't know either. Okay, so back to the bees and the coma and the 20,000 stings and the fact this guy did not fall off a ladder, which amazes me.
They had to airlift him, and then the medical officials had to suck the bees out of his airways over the weekend.
Oh, man.
He will make a full recovery from the attack. That is insane. That's absolutely insane. I don't know. Have you ever run hogs?
I have not.
Do you know what it means to run a hog?
I do not, so please explain.
On a farm, you work a hog. Like you raise them and you work them.
Okay.
Out in the woods or in the swamp area, you run hogs. So
is that the suey?
No, that's when you get your dogs.
Okay, I don't want to confuse. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And you hunt them up. Right, suey is a fun thing people do at fairs, I think.
All right.
I've never walked out and yelled suey to anything. But
go ahead.
Maybe I will today. So we were down in South Florida at a place called White Belt, and you had to swim a canal from a place called Cricket to get to White Belt. White Belt was a reserve, so you were not allowed to take any guns, but you could take a knife and some rope. But the hogs out there, the wild hogs, were a nuisance, and they were rutting up all the areas, and so we had permission to go out there and remove wild pigs. You just weren't allowed to shoot them. You had to catch them, tie them up, bring them back across the water, and then, to your truck. So that's stuff we did for fun when there was nothing else going on. So one day we're running. I got the catch dogs out in front of me. We're coming around this bend, and there's a big old hog, big old boar hog, tusk show. I mean, just big old guy out ahead of us. Well, he knew exactly where he was at. It was his environment. When he rounded the bend, he went in between. Somebody had put beehives out there, and there was a bunch of them. There was probably as many beehives as there are cars in half that parking lot out front.
Wow.
It was a lot, to say the least. That hog knew exactly where to run, and he went all the way through that beehive maze. Our dogs, on the other hand, big, look at that raccoon. Our hogs, on the other hand, big, dopey dogs, got one thing on their mind, get that hog. They hit every beehive that was standing. And these beehives are in boxes, the way you ever seen them? They put them up in the boxes. They hit everyone that was standing. And before I could get stopped, I was so close running up behind them. Now I'm in the middle of this, and the bees are everywhere. They're all over me. They're all over the dogs. We, of course, panic. We'll run to some water, and so that's a myth, right? So I'm doing a Mythbuster story right now. If you jump in water and go under and hold your breath, when you come up, the bees are still going to be there.
They're just waiting on you.
They are. So I had an option to drown or get stung by a bunch of bees in my head. So not 20,000, but I know what this cat went through a little bit, and I can only imagine the pain. And do you know how sore he is when he wakes up and he gets home off all the medicine? They're going to probably hook him up with some good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
He's probably juiced up right now. But when he gets home and they say, hey, take a couple of Tylenol 3s or whatever, he's going to be hating life.
Oof.
So anyways, I feel bad for that guy, but the bee's knees. I'll tell you what's not the bee's knees. The Clinton list.
Yeah, no, this is a little, yeah.
You're not on the Clinton list, are you?
I hope not. I mean, I'm still here, so apparently, no.
Before we move forward in our relationship, I want to make sure if I need to watch your 6 or just mine being around you, by proxy, I don't want to be on the Clinton list.
No, I'm okay. I haven't done, as far as I know, I've not done anything to the Clintons.
All right. Well, Ken Starr is now no longer on the list.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not making any accusations. I'm not saying that he accidentally fell on a razor blade 19 times. Does it actually have a cause of death? Have you been able to find that? I haven't been able to find the cause of death.
Let me look.
If you don't know who Ken Starr is, while Steadman's looking it up, Ken Starr is the guy who broke the lid open.
Oh, that was no, that wasn't the cause of death. Oh, I'm sorry.
He broke the lid open on Monica Lewinsky and President Bill Clinton in the Oval Office. Just to give you an idea, if you're not quite sure who he was. No, Motor City Mick, they were not killer bees. If they were killer bees, they would have been bad at their job because he woke up 20,000 of them and he did not kill them. So Ken Starr broke the report, put Monica Lewinsky out there as, a terrible human being. All the terrible acts that her and our president did in our Oval Office and wherever else they did their stuff at. Ironically, he has met his end. Whether by fate or by happenstance, trying to find her.
Ken Starr died of complications from surgery.
Of course he did.
Was
this a routine surgery?
Well, no surgery's routine, but yeah.
Complications of surgery.
Yeah, that's the story, and they're sticking to it.
They're whittling this thing down, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
So Monica Lewinsky either doesn't want to be next, or she really is a classy lady that was just swindled. I mean, I never met Bill Clinton.
Oh, there goes Ken. Ken, you okay, Ken? Sorry, go ahead.
Ken's like, yeah, it'll be all right. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
It'll be fine. I'm going into surgery to get these wounds healed up. They're going to sew me up later. Don't worry.
Okay. All right, Ken. Okay, Ken.
So was Bill Clinton a charmer? Was he a ladies' man?
Oh, was he a ladies' man? Come on.
I mean, he was from Arkansas, so he had a little draw on him when he talked, right?
Oh, yeah, he was good. He was real good.
He was real good.
Oh, yeah. Party bus.
Well, Miss Monica Lewinsky, classy lady. I'm not on Twitter yet, all right, but I'm starting to do different digging.
Okay.
So one day you're going to hear, you can find me on Twitter, find me on the TikTok or whatever that, when you talk to, like, hey, where are you going to be at later? And y'all tell each other, I'm at such and such over here.
Yeah, your handle's going to be, how the hell does this work at twitter.com?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that handle. I didn't know.
Yeah. Oh, no, not, yeah, okay.
Okay. Miss Lewinsky, being the classy lady she is, she tweeted out, as I'm sure many can understand, my thoughts about Ken Starr bring up complicated feelings. But of more importance, it is that I imagine it is a painful loss for those who love him. And that's all she had to say.
That's it?
I think she probably thought other things, But I don't know. Sometimes I like to pretend like if I was Monica Lewinsky in the Oval Office, I made the same decision she made.
Well, yeah.
I'm just playing. I've never thought that in my life. I made that completely up.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you what I didn't make up. We got to take our final break. So we'll be right back. Florida Man Radio. This is Jonathan Morris. I'm having a good time. I hope you're enjoying this. We'll be right back. Stick around.
Florida Man Radio.
Have you downloaded the Florida Man Radio app from your app store yet? Want to know what you're missing out on?
Yes.
Let's break it down. Use the open mic feature to record a 30-second voice message for Bubba the Love Sponge, Justin Clark, or Shannon Burke, and we could play it live on the radio. Catch up on podcasts from all your favorite shows and get all the news you need to know in one spot. And of course, you can listen to Florida Man Radio live from anywhere, 24/7. The Florida Man Radio app. Download it today.
The Big Dinner Box from Pizza Hut. 2 pizzas, breadsticks, and boneless wings or pasta, all in one box. Heck, swap in a third pizza if you want. It's your world. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Additional charge for more than one topping. Product availability, prices, and delivery areas, minimums, and fees vary. Delivery charge not a tip.
We're asking dogs in the neighborhood where they go for a fun day out, where they get treated to an action-packed day with their fur friends, where they exhaust themselves from running, swimming, barking. Oh, and don't forget the TREATS. Let's hear from them now. Okay. The answer is unanimous. Paws down. Your pet's choice. Pet Suites. At Pet Suites, they're pet people. They speak pet. No detail is spared. Whether your pet is vacationing in their clean and spacious suites, being treated to a spa day with one of their certified groomers, or a daycare guest, your pet is their priority. Book now at PetSuitesOfAmerica.com.
Bubba the Love Sponge.
Hey, it's Bubba the Love Sponge. Listen every weekday mornings right here on Florida Man Radio. Powered by Anajar and Levine, Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
If you're a business owner, you can find new customers here on Florida Man Radio with Bubba the Love Sponge.
We'll hype you up in my show, mornings.
Have your company featured during middays.
Justin Clark here, 10 to noon.
Or jump in with me, Dan Bongino, from noon till 3.
Or we can plug you in during prime PM drive.
Yep, I've got you covered during the Shannon Burke Show.
We'll create a custom marketing plan based on your goals and budget.
Just visit FloridaManRadio.com and click on the Advertise tab.
Taking over Central Florida and now the Emerald Coast.
Boss Man Painting, that's BAUSMAN, nothing compares to the boss.
Call the boss today. They'll come out today. Yes, today. Survey the job and get you an estimate today. Boss Men are experienced professional painters that hustle so they can get to you right away and get the job done right. Call Boss Man Painting today at 407-256-5217 for the same day estimate.
Nothing compares to the boss.
Hi. Did you find everything you're looking for?
I found everything I was looking for.
I'm going to see your card for this. Thank you.
I just got carded. When is the last time that happened to me?
Come get carded so you can have books delivered to your house at no charge. Work on creative projects at the Melrose Center. Learn how to sew and create fun crafts. Bring your kids to free children's events and explore some of the best arts and culture venues. Get your card today by visiting us online at ocls.info/card or stop by any of our locations.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night.
Perfect. I love my job.
Oak Tree?
What's up?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think he would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Neil Armstrong waited 6 hours and 39 minutes to step onto the surface of the moon. Jackie Robinson waited 20 months to play his first game with the Brooklyn Dodgers. And even DiCaprio had to wait 22 years to win an Oscar. You can wait until your destination. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Did you know that generic drugs are just as safe and effective as brand name drugs? Generics might look different, but they work the same way. And they can even save you money. Don't believe me? Ask your doctor or pharmacist. Or visit fda.gov/generic drugs.
Getting you back between the ribs with Jonathan Morris on Florida Man Radio.
If you don't think Florida is the greatest state in the country, you have lost your rabbit butt mind. And I say that because I haven't brought myself to say, hey, cricket letter yet, in case my mama's listening. But you get the gist. We are not only blessed with the best state, we have the greatest governor. I'm willing to say, I'm only 45 years old, but I'm willing to say of all times. Does anybody want to go round for round with me on that? I mean, you all right with that? Is that a fair statement?
Sure. Yeah, that's a fair statement. I stay out of politics, but yeah, he seems to be doing okay. He seems to be very popular.
I think he's popular because he's so matter-of-fact, hardline on what he believes in.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm a guy that I can get behind you, right, wrong, or indifferent, as long as you're willing to ride that ship all the way.
He stands by his convictions. That I will give him.
Yes, and if something is a conviction for you, and that is how you're tried and true, and we sink to the bottom, we sink together, right? Because it's who you are. You're not flip-floppity. You're not changing around. You know, you're not Charlie Crist, who's been a man, a woman, a Democrat, a Republican, an independent.
And that is a fair assessment.
Right? You're a straight shooter, and this is how we're going to roll it. I may not make everybody happy, but I'm not trying to. I'm trying to say this is where Florida stands as a state, and this is how I'm going to govern it and run it. And if you like it, great. And if you don't, hey, you still get to reap the rewards because I'm going to run it a really good way. He just left Jacksonville. Or he may still be there. Well, I think he left yesterday. But that's neither here nor there. Governor DeSantis, this is his second year in a row doing this. And I thought it was pretty cool because I think a lot of times, especially now after the woke movement, of the Black Lives Matter and all the crap that happened all over the country, it just didn't affect police officers, local cops, sheriffs, county, state. It affected like anybody that wore a uniform. If you were a medic or an EMT, first responder, firefighter, they looked at you basically the same way they looked at police officers. And they saw you as some unjust position of power that was created to suppress them. And that's all made up. It's all made up. It's all a bunch of crap. But there's places that didn't want any response from anybody. They wanted to defund everything. Well, not in Florida. Governor DeSantis, this is his second year doing it. And he's giving out, and he's hand-delivered. Of course, I don't know if he's giving out every single check, but he shows up with the big one. That great big old one they take a picture of?
Right.
And it's $1,000 per person. When you think about that on a scale for Florida, there's a lot of firefighters. There's a lot of EMTs. That's a lot of money.
It is.
And if you're working the grind day to day, $1,000 is a lot of money. That could really change the trajectory of your month with the power bills the way they are and fuel bills.
Sure.
This ain't no Joe Biden, I'm going to give you a $100 raise by knocking 20 cents off the gas price by, giving away our reserves and making this stuff up. It's not even a real number, but we add $4 and we take 20 cents off and you're supposed to, give us a handy on it. This is a real bonus. This is a real raise. This is $1,000 hard money in your pocket if you're a first responder. And I don't know, I love it. Any chance I get to talk about him, I will, because I want him to stay in Florida. I may be a little bit greedy of me, but we saw in other states when President Trump was in office and some other states had very weak Republican or Democratic governors, crooked, I guess. Let me rephrase that. I guess they were weak, and the Democratic governors were trying to do their own agenda. So they did different things in their states that they didn't have to, that they could have went with Trump. And when Biden got in office and they tried to do things, DeSantis stood up, kind of like our gatekeeper, like that old Southern Baptist lady's like, not today, Satan, not today.
Right.
You picked the wrong state, buddy. You better turn around and hightail it out of here. So I'd like to applaud him, give him some honor, give him credit where credit is due. If you're a first responder, I don't know how that process works. It's a lengthy story. It's in the local news if you want to look it up. And he's in Jacksonville right now, and I'm sure however that process is of getting the checks out. But $1,000 bonuses to the members of Jacksonville Fire and Rescue Department. So that was pretty cool. Now, it's unfortunate, Florida Man. It's the name of the radio station, right?
Mm-hmm.
Florida Man, though, is a totally different animal of itself. And it's a shame, but it wouldn't be as funny if the Florida Man thing would have happened on people like our governor doing great things all the time. But ironically, it's mostly asinine decisions, terrible decisions. Some of them will appall you. You'll be like, there's no way somebody did that. So I don't know if you understand where Florida Man came from. I'm not going to read all of them, but here's a few. This goes back to 2012. Florida Man arrested for calling 911 after kitten denied entry into strip club. Why do you have a cat at a strip club?
Oh, so many jokes in so little time.
Let's leave it at that. Also in 2012, Florida Man chews off another man's face. Do you remember that story?
I do. That
Down
was
in
the
Miami.
bath salt. Yeah, that was the bath salt story.
What kind of idiot eats bath salts?
Florida Man?
Florida Man. 2014, Florida Man once he made a change, man. Come on, give the guy a break. He was a bad guy. Now he's trying to be a good guy. Florida Man once arrested for fighting drag queen with tiki torch runs for mayor.
Wow.
In 2015, Florida man trapped in an unlocked closet for 2 days.
Yeah, now that's just dumb. Now, I will say this, and let me just preface it by saying this crap happens in other states too. It's just so convenient to, it's like calling somebody who complains about a manager a Karen. Like immediately that's what you think of. You think of somebody doing something stupid, it could be in Iowa.
Right.
And they're going to say, oh, Florida man.
You're absolutely right. Yes. Florida man rolls off the tongue. We have set the stage.
With that said, there is some pretty funny stuff.
There's some pretty funny. We don't have time to get to all of them. Like this guy in 2017, Florida man needs a desperate ride to Hooters, so he calls 911.
Well, I mean, those wings, sometimes they call to you.
Is that what it is?
I guess.
Well, what about in 2015 when a Florida man killed by an alligator while hiding from cops?
That's just dumbassery right there. Where was he hiding, in the swamp?
Yeah, I guess. Matthew Riggins, 22, was fatally chomped by an 11-foot gator after breaking into a home, then hiding from cops in Barefoot Bay Lake.
Yeah, we talked about a story like this a couple days ago on this during this time slot on this radio station, and I have no sympathy for you if you swim in Florida water. I'm sorry. If it's not a swimming pool, don't swim in it.
But do you understand it's because the alligators are woke?
Is that what it is?
Yeah, the whole society has gone woke. Listen, I used to jump off of the Port Miaca Bridge down in South Florida.
Mm-hmm.
All right, where the bridge was a drawbridge for the boats to go under. I do not condone that behavior to children because it was a very high jump and a lot of people got hurt. But we would swim in the Rim Canal, and it was called the Rim because it was the rim. It was a canal that was the rim around Lake Okeechobee, called the Rim Canal. Gators would pop up, and they would look at you, and you would look at them, and they would go the other way. We were not on their menu in 1981, 82, 83.
Now, when I was a kid, we had a boat, and my dad would, tie a inner tube to it down in Lake Topekalaga in Kissimmee area.
Right.
That's where I grew up. And we wouldn't swim in the lake per se, but we get dragged across that lake. So, I mean, yeah, as a kid, not knowing amoebas and gators and things like that as I do now, yeah, I mean, I've swum in Florida water, but I would never, ever do it now. I just wouldn't do it.
I know. And it's whatever happened that we're now on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
But in the old days, alligators didn't try to eat us. Or if they did, there wasn't social media for people to find out about it. And Johnny came up missing and never came back, So this is an unfortunate Florida man story. Again, idiotic. Well, this is just downright, it's kind of funny. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to the end of the story, it's a little bit funny, but it's bad too. So let's say I've only been married to one person, but let's say you married a lady who had a kid.
Okay.
And now you're a blended family.
Right.
And you found out that 14-year-old child was on medicine for mood disorder.
Okay.
So he has to take daily medicine to keep him step. I don't know the name of the medicine he was on, or his whatever he had, but it was basically he had mood disability.
Sounds like a bipolar thing.
Okay, so let's say you found a laxative pill that looked identical to his mood disorder pills, and you slipped them in his bottle.
That's not cool.
And then you just sat back and waited.
That's not cool.
So, of course, the diarrhea begins, right? At what point do you say, ha ha, I'm a D word, I got you, I put some laxatives in your pill bottle?
I don't know if you do. I don't know. I mean, so this is a stepdad who did this?
This is the stepdad. Well, do you wait until the boy is scheduled for surgery and going for colonoscopies because the doctors can't find out why the diarrhea won't stop? And you still are riding this train?
Is this Florida man?
Florida man. So the mom became suspicious. So she put up hidden cameras in the house. And did she not only find out that he was messing with the kid's medicine, he was doing things like unplugging the refrigerator. So the food would all go bad. And he was like taking the microwave and sliding it all the way around the counter so that the first person that grabbed the microwave door, it would fall on him. He was just doing all these shenanigans around the house, getting his rocks off.
Being a horse's ass.
So she ended up divorcing him. Do you blame her?
No, not at all. I mean, good Lord. I mean, I don't know. I don't get it.
Dadgum Florida man. All right, well, Carterville.
Sorry.
Cartersville's made the news one more time. Thankfully, this time, it's not a Cartersville's police officer down here in Polk County doing a sex raid. A semi full of Bud Light flipped over on I-75, and would you believe everybody stopped and offered the Good Samaritan helping hand to clean up the mess.
Shocker.
Free
beer.
So thank you to all the Cartervillians in South Georgia that stopped to clean up that accident on I-75. Guys, this is Jonathan Morris, Florida Man Radio Between the Ribs. I've had a fantastic show. Thank you very much. Thank you, Steadman, for helping me and dealing with me and getting me through this. We got a lineup of all lineups on Florida Man Radio. You can get on FloridaManRadio.com. In the Emerald Coast, it's 103.1. Locally, it's 660 AM or 105.5 FM, or download the Florida Man Radio app from your app store. Take it with you anywhere. We've got Bill O'Reilly is coming up next. Then Dan Bongino takes over here in Central Florida. In the Emerald Coast, you hear Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. And then to kick it off, the man, the myth, the legend at
3 p.m.
Yes, the Shannon Burke Show is back, and Eric's here with him. Jesse Kelly rounds it off at the end of the night. Then you got Bill O'Reilly, back to rounds. That's the evening. Did we make it? Did we do it?
I think we did, and I don't see a reason why anybody should sign off from this radio station. We are Florida Man, and we're proud of it. We got a lot more great programming yet to come.
Yes, we do. Stick around, and I will be back Friday morning, guys, right here at the same place. We'll see you then.
WDYZ, Altamont Springs, WFYY, HD3, Windermere, WXUS, HD3, Tunellen, Ocala, WCLB, Valparaiso, Florida Man Radio. Florida Man Radio. The views and opinions on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting, management, or its sponsors.
Bill O'Reilly here, Wednesday, September 14th, 2022. You are listening to the O'Reilly Update. Here's what's happening today in America. Stock market braces for another brutal day. A report ranks the cities with the worst inflation. The Pentagon recommends some soldiers go on food stamps. Great Britain beefs up security for the Queen's funeral. Also ahead, religion is declining in the USA, and some say that is a good thing. But first, investors hoping for a rebound after the stock market recorded its worst day in years. The Dow Jones plunging 1,200 points in 24 hours, the biggest drop since June 2020. The Nasdaq fell 5%. New data shows inflation rose to 8.3% in August, despite a decrease in gas prices. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre insists the administration is making real progress on the economy, which, of course, is hard to see. Bloomberg Magazine ranking the cities hardest hit by inflation. They are Houston, Baltimore, Miami,